about what's been happening. Where do we even begin? Well, after our first transfer, which obviously didn't work, we decided we were going to do a second transfer back to back. So that was a couple of weeks ago now. We went down to Melbourne for the second transfer. Just to take it back a bit, we started with 3 embryos. First embryo obviously didn't take. We got to the appointment a couple of weeks ago and got taken into the room and were told that the second embryo didn't survive the thaw, so they've gone ahead and thawed our third and last embryo. That moment there was probably one of the most disappointing moments I've ever felt. How did you feel? Same. We had to wait 20 minutes before they could do that embryo transfer because it was sitting in embryo glue. So once she told us and then we left the room, we went outside because I didn't want to cry in the waiting room, which I was doing. So I cried, and pretty much from then on I just felt so deflated and so disappointed and miserable about the whole entire process. We went in after a while and we did our third, like our embryo transfer. At that stage, obviously the embryo hadn't fully expanded yet, but they said it did show signs that it was expanding and all that jazz. Oh, and we're almost crashing, no worries at all. So then this time round I had all the progesterone pessaries and all these other things to try and help, but I still didn't feel really confident at all throughout all of that. You, on the other hand, you felt really good, didn't you?
I felt really confident this time.
Yeah, you felt really confident. It's kind of weird, we did like a role reversal. In the first transfer I felt really confident and I was like, yep, we've got this, and then you were a little bit more like, let's just wait and see what happens. And then this time round I was like just a negative Nancy the whole time, and Trent was a little bit more hopeful. Anyway, so I started getting really bad period pains probably like day 5, day 6 post-transfer. To me that wasn't a very good sign. I was pretty much convinced at that stage that it probably hadn't worked. It's funny how you kind of get really in tune with your body and like you just kind of sense things and you know things. So we decided to do a pregnancy test the day before our bloods. We did a test that first thing that morning and it came up with 2 lines, and that test line was quite faint. So for that late in the 2-week wait to have a faint line like that, it was kind of like, oh, it could be and it couldn't be, but deep down I was kind of like, oh, I don't think it's worked. And then we decided to do another test that night and then there was just no line at all. So pretty much from then we were both like, it hasn't worked.
Yeah.
Would you agree? Yeah. So I went in for my blood test and then the next day got the results that the HCG level, which they like to be above 150 to be a viable pregnancy, our level was 3. So that was miserable, which it means that it did like implant, and they call it like a chemical pregnancy or a very, very early miscarriage, which is really devastating to know that it obviously started to work and for whatever reason it just didn't continue. But yeah, that's pretty much it, isn't it?
And what are we doing now?
So we're just coming back from Melbourne now. We've just had an appointment with Kate and she was really good. She sort of was really laid back and very realistic about it all, and rather than jumping straight into another round, because we are going to do another egg collection obviously, rather than jumping straight into another round, she wants to do an endometrial biopsy just to make sure that the lining of my uterus isn't inflamed or has an infection or anything like that. Then we'll come back in February and she's going to give me a lower dose of the medication just to try and get less eggs but good quality ones, I guess. So we'll come back in February, do that egg collection, and then if we don't have any results after that round and we sort of go through all the same things again, and then she said that we'll explore doing a hysteroscopy and more like invasive procedures just to see if I've got like endometriosis or those sorts of things, which I don't have symptoms of it, but I have known women to not have symptoms of endometriosis and still have it. So I don't know, we'll see. It's been kind of like a miserable end to the year, hasn't it? We were really banking on like this was going to be our year, and like we were going to have like we're going to be pregnant by the end of this year, and it would be like, I don't know, I just imagined it to go a whole lot differently, and we've just kind of like, this whole process has made us feel really deflated, and we just feel like we've just been beaten and kicked, and just like the world hates us. So it's been really hard to find positivity and to try and feel good and to try and feel optimistic about this process. But when you want something so badly like this, you kind of just have to like dig so deep to find that optimism, don't you? And I guess it's just lucky that we have each other, even though he hates me sometimes, but that's okay. But that's about it. I don't really think that there's much else to say. It's just been a shiteful few weeks. Yeah, it's been really miserable. And like, no matter how much like you can prepare yourself that it's going to be a negative, it still hurts, and I still cried, and I was like, well, it was even more miserable knowing that like it worked for a period and then you've technically miscarried, which is just, I just think it's devastating, but it is what it is. Just have to take it as a lesson, don't we?
Yeah, it's all learning.
It's all learning. It's all learning. But that's about it. At this stage, we're just going to enjoy the Christmas and the New Year period with our friends and our family, and then next year's a new year and we'll get back at it, won't we?
Yeah. New year, new me.
New year, yeah, sure. Okay, that's it. Bye everybody. Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.